How would you best sum up your first year in office?
It's been a year of learning, listening, leading. We put a lot of effort into being visible, putting victims at the heart of the criminal justice system, and making a pledge against violence. So there's been a lot of activity. I think the last 12 months for me pretty much have been getting into the job, setting out the vision, and understanding what people want from me. I'm looking forward to 14, 15 being the years of delivery, really. So we're setting it up, winding ourselves up to let ourselves go for delivery later on.
How important has it been to build that relationship with the Chief Constable, which I guess from an outsider's point would be very crucial to the role?
Yeah, I'd say outside of my marriage or my family, it is the most crucial relationship, actually. It's almost like a marriage. The Chief Constable and I need each other. We need to work successfully together for the interest of the force and the public. It's a relationship that can't really fail, and we've put a lot of time and effort into getting on, and we enjoy each other's company, I think.
How much has it been, not just a learning curve, but your first year has been defining the parameters of what you want to do, i.e. your role, and therefore subsequent roles for other people who may take on the role?
The Police and Crime Commissioner role is huge. It is pretty much what the individual in the office wants to do with it. And I suspect that at every election with a new Police and Crime Commissioner, it will be reinvented. From my point of view, being the first, I wanted to push the boundaries and see how far the role can take somebody, how much you can be involved in change. And so, merging a fire and police service together, now being the chairman of the Criminal Justice Board, where you've got all the people around the table from the criminal justice system, holding them to account, trying to push for victims. The job is huge, it's as big as you want it to be. So I think for me it has pretty much been about defining the job and seeing that as part of my responsibility.
What's the biggest lesson you feel you've learned in your first 365 days?
I think pacing myself more. So I'm quite energetic and I throw myself into lots of things and I'm exhausted, and it's only 365 days. So I have to actually think about how you pace yourself over 3.5 years. Also, the job is bigger than I thought it would be. And that's been an eye-opener. People's expectations. So on the one hand, someone phoning you up saying, in the night 3 of my sheep were slaughtered, what are you going to do about it? The police are not coming around until next Wednesday. While on a journey to a meeting to talk about counter-terrorism. So you've got this huge different perspective of where the local people's aspirations are for you versus actually the job.
Do you think that's a good? Do you feel, from your own point of view, that that's a good thing, that people have the confidence to ring you up and say, "I've got a problem. What are you going to do about it?"
Yeah, I do. It's part of my job, but I don't see my job as representing the public. Representing the police to the public. I do think it's my job to represent the people to the police, and so I'm not an apologist for the police. Where the police don't do things right, it's my job to tell them and put them right. And if I need to make some changes in their priorities or their funding, to do that too. So I'm a member of the public myself, and it's my job to champion that.
And overall, when you speak to officers or WPCs or PCs, do you feel, or have they told you that their thoughts about you have changed since you first took over the role?
Yeah, I think I've got the benefit of the doubt. I think most of the police force would now, if they saw me in the street or walking down a corridor, would say hello. And I think they would begin to understand a bit of my direction. There'll be frustrations with politicians generally. And I think the majority of people would still say the jury's out on whether PCCs are a success or not. But Adam Simmonds, as an individual, I think people are prepared to give a go.
And what would you hope, you wish to achieve within the next year?
Oh, there's so much to be done. The victim's voice, 79 recommendations around how victims need to be helped through the criminal justice system. We're going to set up a victims and witness service. We're going to open a police crime and justice institute. We're looking at how we open a school in 2017, getting violence down, violent crime down. We're already 14% down on violent crime this year, and open a whole range of other policy agendas. So 14, 15 is a huge year.
Do you feel it is a very important time for Northamptonshire Police and yourself as a PCC, that things change in a world, but this is a very important time for you and the police?
I think it's a very important time for the police service across the United Kingdom right now, where there are very challenging relationships between PCCs and their chief constables. but also the reputation of the police, the efficacy of the police. The public want to desperately believe that they can trust their police service, and I think some people have been let down by that. There's a huge partnership then between police and crime commissioners and the chiefs to get the public's confidence back with the police, which I don't think will take too long, but it is a definite need.
One of the little pleasant quirks which you told me is going to happen is on November the 22nd you will be officially 1 year in your role, which is the 50th anniversary of the assassination of one of your heroes who's behind you on the wall, President John F. Kennedy. How does it feel to have that little quirk happen in your life?
It's really weird, actually, because I've spent a lot of time thinking about November 22nd, 1963, just through my youth and following John F. Kennedy's life a bit, only through history. And to then know that was my first day, it's quite bizarre. It was also the day that Margaret Thatcher resigned in 1990, 22nd November. So it's kind of an interesting day to think about. But I think what drives me at looking at John F. Kennedy at all was how important he as an individual was at the time he was elected. He was someone, the youngest president of the United States, replacing the oldest president of the United States, and the hope, vigour, energy that he brought to the role about what we can do next and how important the 1960s were. So to me, he just represents an idea of what the future might be about, and having ambition. I'm not particularly very keen on his lifestyle, but more about what he represented at a particular moment in time.
And out of all you've read about JFK, is there a couple of things that you've taken on board as PCC and think, yeah, I could use that, that's a good idea?
I think around reservists and volunteers, he founded the Peace Corps, which was about getting young Americans out into the rest of the world and seeing what the world was like, actually. So I like that. We're going in our own way to develop the police cadets that we've got, raising cadet force in Kettering and Wellingborough and Daventry and Northampton and everywhere around the county to have a large number. And volunteers and specials generally, getting people back to I guess live out what Kennedy said. Don't just ask what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. I think that's what I'm asking people to do when they become specials. There's another thing he also said, which is important when you're in a role and you're the individual, the executive like he was, is that it's not the lie that's dangerous, but it's the myth. And I think in an age where we're very big on celebrity and things like that, that it's my job to get out and meet people, talk to people, understand what the truth is about their experience, and for people to understand my motives and what I want to get done, and not just hear a rumour or a misquote.